Gentlemen, we are down to the top 5. These 5 superstars are, in our humble opinions, the greatest wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling! This is the Haymakers top 5 greatest wrestlers of all time. Hello, everybody. My name is Nikki V, MLP, and joining me to do this top 5 list of the greatest superstars of all time is
DJ Calcos
and Toon Critic Y2K, your cult of personality.
All right, we're on the home stretch. These guys are the benchmarks. These guys are the, without a doubt, well, maybe with a doubt, but without a doubt in our minds, the best people to ever lace up a pair of boots and put on a pair of tiny underpants that look like wrestling shorts. Who wants to start?
I think I should start. Throughout his career in WCW and WWE, our number 5 entry would become one of the symbols of the luchador style, and one of the most respected wrestlers to ever step in the ring. After years of infighting and drug abuse, he would conquer his demons and go on to become WWE champion in one of the greatest matches in wrestling history. However, in late 2005, he would be taken from us far too soon and pass away in his hotel room due to heart failure. One glowing tribute show later, and it was certain that no wrestling fan would ever forget him or his legacy. He is my favorite wrestler of all time. He lied, he cheated, and he stole our hearts. Eddie Guerrero.
Oh, that was so sweet and sentimental and shit.
He's my favorite, man. Like when he died in November of 2005, like I left. I stopped watching. I didn't want to watch anymore. I was done. He killed wrestling for me with his death. I hated that and I had to stop, but Jesus Christ, the guy had such a lucrative, unbelievable career.
Unfortunately, I missed a large part of his career. He did spend a little bit of time in WCW, or not, well, yeah, in WCW, but in ECW. So I did get to see some of his stuff, particularly his kick-ass matches with Dean Malenko.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, he and Dean Malenko were, like, one of the best pairs of wrestlers to go against each other. And their matches were kind of interesting because, like, you could tell, like, they were big fans of one another, and they weren't fighting with each other to, like, prove a point or have, like, some animosity towards each other. They wrestled each other because they knew the two of them together could put on a fucking great match. And damn it, they did everywhere they went. EC Dub, WC Dub, WWE, wherever.
I remember when I first got back into wrestling with WrestleMania 20, seeing Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle in their match, which is still my favorite WrestleMania match to date. Eddie was huge inspiration for me as well. I don't often, like, I guess, go out with this. I'm part Latino, so the whole Latino heat thing, really connected with my family, and my mom was a huge wrestling fan too. Eddie Guerrero was one of her favorites. It was really heartbreaking to hear when the guy died, and I went back to, like, watch some of his greatest matches, like on his the Eddie Guerrero Story DVD, and watching, like, other matches before he died. This guy could out-wrestle just about anybody that he was up against. I think he could out-wrestle maybe 3/4 of the locker room now.
Dude, he could not only out-wrestle 3/4 of the locker room, he could out-wrestle the locker room. Just put them all in a ring. Put them against Eddie Guerrero. Lol, Guerrero wins.
I so wish that was a thing.
He was that good. He was that good. And, oh my God, his storytelling ability, his high-flying ability, his Mac technician ability, he had it all. And they gave him the Latino heat gimmick starting in 2002 with Los Guerreros, with his nephew Chavo. And from there, he ended up becoming a face sometime in 2003, split from the tag team. And I said in the intro, one of the greatest matches in wrestling history. The match I'm talking about is at No Way Out 2004 against Brock Lesnar. My flair on r/square circle says, I buried Brock Lesnar essay. And he basically did. Like, he beat Brock Lesnar. It wasn't clean. Goldberg had to interfere, but Brock Lesnar was built up to be such a frickin' monster at that point that was what was needed. And then Eddie Guerrero counters the F5 into a DDT, and I'm just like, holy shit, that was so cool. But
is he gonna do it?
He's gonna do it. Brock Lesnar's down. Frog splash. Bring the ref over. 1, 2, 3. He does it. Oh God.
I will say, and this is kind of hard for me to admit, Eddie Guerrero had a better frog splash than Rob Van Dam.
Yeah, I'm honestly going to have to agree. RVD's was showy, but Eddie's was, you could feel the impact on that.
He got hops in that. He had more hops in one of his 5-star frog splashes than in an entire barrel of Samuel Adams.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I really didn't think that was gonna work.
5-star reference right there.
I really didn't think that pun was going to work.
That worked really well. I liked it.
Yes.
The thing I always loved about Eddie was a lot of the whole lie, cheat, and steal things. I loved when he would just like slam the he would slam the chair on the ground, toss it to the guy, and just lay on the ground. The look on the wrestler's face, just like, wait, what? And then the referee turns like, wait, what? And then the bell rings, wait, what?
You fucker!
No, it was great.
He did so many heel-like things, but the crowd fucking ate it up, and I love that. If you do that now, people are gonna be like, "Oh, haha, that was funny, I guess." But Eddie, when he did it, he made it like the most fucking hilarious thing in the world.
Because he was the innovator of that. He was the guy who basically, well, maybe he didn't. There was probably some guy in like maybe Vern Gagne did it. I don't know. But like, he was the one who popularized it in today's WWE. The bang. Oh, he got me. Tell my mother I love her.
I still remember the segment with Kurt Angle when he was actually rivaling with Kurt Angle in the build-up to WrestleMania. He brought a whole bunch of Kurt Angle merch with like a portrait and his wheelchair from back when he was injured, kayfabe, and his gold medals, and he was sitting on the wheelchair, and he was like, hey, to whoever wins this in the auction, I'll call up my brother, and we can get some hydraulics on this thing. Yay!
That's the other thing. Nobody does this today, and I'm so glad that they don't. Eddie's lowrider entrance is still one of the best entrances of all time for any wrestler. I do not know of a single wrestler now that could come into the ring with a car. The only other person I know of that made entering to into the arena with a car is Cena at WrestleMania 23.
JBL and Alberto Del Rio.
I was literally about
that was for the limo, but like for lowrider though. A fucking lowrider. Come on.
You're right, though. One of my favorite segments as a kid is something that people don't remember because it's not a super memorable moment, but I remember it because it was the very first time I heard Vince McMahon say the words, "You're fired." It was when Kurt Angle was general manager of SmackDown, and Big Show threw him like 2 stories onto concrete floor,
God.
paralyzing him, and Kurt Angle became the biggest piece of shit general manager ever. But on one day on SmackDown, he got up from his wheelchair and said, "I'm still a little hurt, but I lied. I'm not actually paralyzed." And from there, he just started firing people left and right. He fired like Funaki, he fired a whole bunch of divas, and he was going to have Eddie Guerrero come to the ring and beg for his job. But out comes Vince McMahon telling him, "You lied to the crowd, you lied to your roster, and worst of all, you lied to me. Get fucked." And he was immediately put onto the active roster, and Eddie Guerrero comes out in his lowrider, invites Vince McMahon into the lowrider, and then just has it bounce up and down until Vince gets sick, and he's just like, okay, I'm done now. I'm done. For me, that was very memorable, even though it's forgotten to history because it's not that special compared to other Vince McMahon firings. But it was special to me because it was connected to Eddie Guerrero, my all-time favorite. And I hate the fact that he's not with us anymore. It's one of those big what ifs. What if Owen Hart didn't fall 50 feet to the ring? What if Chris Benoit never suffered brain damage? What if Bret Hart was never screwed out of the title? What if,
if I may say, if I may quickly interject, well, probably one of the biggest what ifs with Eddie Guerrero would have happened at WrestleMania 22. He was supposed to face Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 22 before he had passed away.
And he was supposed to win the championship back at Survivor Series or sometime before it in 2005.
Oh, that would have been good.
Oh, yeah, he was supposed to come back to the main event scene because he had left it a little while back to feud with Eddie Guerrero. I'm sorry, to feud.
Eddie Guerrero to feud with Eddie Guerrero.
Dude, best feud ever. To feud with
Eddie Guerrero with Rey Mysterio. Probably his best feud ever.
I don't like it that much. I prefer his feud with Chavo, but I digress. He was supposed to get it all back, supposed to come back to the main event scene after taking a break, and then all of a sudden Chavo finds him in his hotel room, and history changed. It makes me so sad. Like there's not much to say other than the fact that, man, rest in peace. I hope you really have problems with how WWE is running shit right now. And I hope you haunt Vince McMahon in his dreams at some point and tell him to wise the fuck up.
I want to just come back from the dead and just like walk out of the ring. Just like, you know what? Fuck every single one of you. Let me show you how to really wrestle.
JBL,
Guess what?
JBL,
Guess what I lied about?
Hold on.
Guess what? I'm not dead.
JBL actually mentioned, I forget which wrestler he was referring to, or if it was Raw on SmackDown. He made the comment saying he looks like a zombie Eddie Guerrero, and I'm just like,
too soon.
It will forever be too soon. Eddie Guerrero, we miss you. Viva la Razza, number 5.
My turn. Okay, if you had to describe this wrestler with one word, it would be this one: genius. In WCW, realizing that the company he worked for would continue to neglect him, he used every resource he could find in order to elevate himself up the card. Unfortunately, no one with the power to push him recognized his incredible potential or chose to ignore it, and he would move to WWE in the most historic and important debut of all time. Over the last 15 years, he has accomplished numerous feats, becoming a Grand Slam champion, an 8-time Intercontinental champion, and the very first undisputed champion of the world in late 2001. At number 4 on our list, Raw is Jericho. Chris Jericho.
The guy is a corporate shill nowadays, but during his tenure, during his full-time tenure, the guy has more accolades and is better on the mic and in the ring and with anybody in the ring than he has any right to be. Like, He really is better than he has any right to be. His time in WCW, as far as getting over was in the Cruiserweight division and trying to elevate himself up the card, you see people try to do that in WWE all the time. You're seeing it right now with Axelmania, with Curtis Axel. And it's working, but only for so long. Chris Jericho was able to go all the way by himself. And a very good example of this is hold number 1, arm drag. Hold number 2, arm bar. Hold number 3, cross lock or cross face. Hold number 4, arm bar.
It looks like he's going to be at this for a while, Tony. We're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back.
After commercial,
hold number 742.
All right, we're back on Monday Nitro. Get this guy out of the ring. He actually read the whole fucking thing during the commercial break.
Wait, are you serious?
I'm serious. He was reading that shit for like 5 minutes.
I thought he just when they went to commercial, they were like, and pause. And then when they come back, they were like starting off at 700 something. He actually went through all 700?
Not really. He skipped through the list when they came back to commercial, but he kept going. during the commercial break. And that's the genius of Chris Jericho. He knows how to push your buttons when he's a heel, and he knows how to get your support when he's a face. He has a very good mind for how to control a crowd. And his wrestling skill? Well, just watch any of his matches. You don't need to go any farther than any basic match on Raw, really. The guy's a great wrestler.
The really awesome thing about Jericho nowadays is that he's done pretty much everything. So what does he do instead of retiring? He comes back and he helps people get over. He goes into matches with, like, you know, he doesn't care about the championship anymore. Fuck it. I've won it enough times. I've won Intercontinental. I've won European. I've won Tag Team. Shit, I could win the Divas Championship if I wanted to. I don't give a fuck. Jericho wants to just go out there and put on a show. He wants to help people put over. He really does actually know what's best for business. And he knows that his job now is to help pave the way for people to eventually become what he might have, like what he was in the past, if you get what I'm saying.
I really want to see Chris Jericho win the Divas title right now.
No,
that would be amazing.
You know, it's just Jericho's done a great job, and I'm sure everybody will remember how well he elevated Fandango.
Yeah, although how well did that work out?
Okay, when I say Jericho's job is to elevate the younger crowd, usually that doesn't quite work.
What kills me?
He got him over, but then he turned to Vince McMahon and was like, "All right, I got a guy for you. He's coming up the card, and wait, what are you doing?
Nothing.
Wait, what are you doing? Don't throw him off that cliff! God damn it! I worked so hard to get that guy over."
What kills me about Fandango, though, is that he is one of 2 WWE wrestlers to come from my state of Maine. Only one of 2. Scotty 2 Hottie, the greatest jobber to ever live. I'm serious. Scotty 2 Hottie is one of my personal favorites. And Fandango. In fact, Fandango's hometown is like 20 minutes away from me in Nowheresville.
That is an illustrious list. Fandango and Scotty 2 Hottie.
I feel very, very proud to be from the state of Scotty 2 Hottie. He was one of my favorites as a teenager.
At least you got somebody. Name one professional wrestler from Louisiana.
Bray Wyatt.
Meanwhile, I got fucking CM Punk and D'Lo Brown and that's about it.
Nikki, you have Bray Wyatt.
They mentioned that he's from Florida, I thought.
No, he's billed from Louisiana.
Hey, Nikki, you got Bray Wyatt.
Ah, I got Bray Wyatt.
I have Fandango.
No, it's just like, I got CM Punk. Nikki's just like, what did you get? Like, oh, I got Bray Wyatt. And Calco's just sitting in the corner like, oh, God.
As much as Chris Jericho can do his damnedest to get people over, there's no way you can get Fandango over. He was over for a little while. I mean, his theme song was #1 on iTunes for quite a while. Fandango must have made a killing off of that.
The theme song was more over than him.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem, is that Chris Jericho can try and get Bray Wyatt over as much as he can, or Fandango, or Shawn Michaels, or anybody else. The problem is that creative keeps cutting his good work off at the knees. They keep doing this shit.
And it's really unfortunate because the guy can still put on a hell of a match. You remember the match that happened last year between Wyatt and Jericho in the cage match?
Oh, yeah. That was fantastic.
That was good shit. And that was like less than a year ago. So the guy could still like get it done in the ring.
Jericho still got it, I think. When he came back, I might as well say, we mentioned this in the best returns. When he came back to the whole break the code shit, he was on a roll. He did his best in like whatever he was given. He ran with the Intercontinental Championship. He had another world title reign. After that, he just decided to sit back and, to see how things would go. I don't see him retiring for quite a while, but when he does, the Hall of Fame's got a nice little seat all warmed up for him.
Definitely.
There's no question. There's no doubt that Jericho is going to be in the Hall of Fame.
No way. No question.
They can put Edge in there. They're going to put Jericho in there.
Of course, he won the very first undisputed champion of the world ever at...
And he will never let you forget that because he is the best in the world at everything he does.
Yep.
Everything ever.
I forget the name of the pay-per-view. Can someone help me?
Oh wow! There's some trivia mania shit for you.
I want to say Unforgiven.
Yeah,
I think
it was Unforgiven 2001 where he beat The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin in the same night, and nobody was expecting that. Everybody could have put their money on The Rock, Stone Cold, or Kurt Angle to win the championship, but it ended up going to Chris Jericho.
fucking Chris Jericho owned the WWE for that time.
Yeah, and he defended it too. He defended it twice and only lost it to he lost it at WrestleMania 18
To Triple
against
H.
Triple H.
Triple H just like, well, you had your fun, giddy, yoink, mine now.
It was Vengeance 2001. That's
Vengeance. Okay.
I was gonna say Vengeance. I thought it was Vengeance.
Oh well. I said Vengeance. I was wrong.
Whatever. Anyway, number 4, Chris motherfucking Jericho.
What? 2J, the Ayatollah rock and roller, the shit. There was like 20 nicknames this guy's had. I blanked out after 2. Fuck. Anyway,
number 3, Nikki.
Number 3.
Oh, number 3 is Nikki. Nikki's our greatest wrestler of all time. Did you know that Nikki's a wrestler?
I am so fucking good at this shit. All right,
oh god, could you imagine if Nikki was actually a wrestler? How well do you think he would do before people just fucking destroyed him?
Not very. Let's go on.
I'd like to think that I would get over with the crowd, but I would get curb stomped every week. All right, our number 3 entry was constantly given crap in his early career and was always able to turn it into gold. However, indecisions and creative with how they should market him halted his growth. Eventually, they settled on a simple gimmick, but a chain of events involving a face turn, a neck injury, a devastating finisher, and an incredible rivalry would turn him from a forgotten talent into the most recognizable face in wrestling history. Please welcome the toughest son of a bitch on the planet, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Now we're getting down to the real tight nitty-gritty with Stone Cold.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. When we did this list and we were coming up with our number 1s, we each came up with a different person. So we were like, hey, why don't we have each of our number 1s be the last guy that we mention? So my guy was Stone Cold Steve Austin. I legitimately think Stone Cold Steve Austin was the greatest wrestler ever.
And you wouldn't be alone. Stone Cold, with the help of Shawn Michaels and Triple H, lifted the WWE out of the dark ages. His WrestleMania 14 match in 1998 against Shawn Michaels with Mike Tyson as the enforcer is not that great of a match. It hasn't aged very well. The only thing that you should take from it is the outcome. It's Shawn Michaels tries to super kick Stone Cold. He dodges. Stone Cold goes for the stunner. It's countered. Michaels goes for a kick. Countered. Stone Cold spins him around. Lands the stunner finally. Goes for the pin. Mike Tyson in. Stone Cold wins the championship. I know that sequence because I've seen it a million times. It is such an important moment in the business in retrospect.
Although Tyson totally gave him a fast count. Yeah, he was just done.
Yeah, that was the point, though. that was the point.
Yeah.
But the Stone Cold is so much more than that, though. But I mean, when he was in WCW back before he shaved his head, he was a part of the tag team called the Hollywood Blondes. But he wanted to be a singles star. And, well, they gave him a tag team. But over time with the tag team, he learned to like it. He liked being in a tag team. So they were like, we're going to split you up now and you're going to become a single star. But no, I like being in a tag team now. And creative became frustrated because they thought that Stone Cold didn't know what he wanted. So Stone Cold left. He went to WWE in 1995 as the Ringmaster.
Hold on. You're skipping a very important period of time in his career. His days in ECW when he was cutting promos against...
Oh, shit, you're right. This is Monday Night Quill, and we are live!
I loved his promos in ECW. I loved what he did in ECW. Not a lot of people talk about it.
This is why Paul Heyman is the best promoter ever, and I really wish that he had the funds to go along with his absolute genius, because he knew... You take a guy like Stone Cold, somebody who's really good on the mic, give him the fucking mic. How is this difficult?
The thing, though, about Stone Cold is that while I agree he is probably one of the best wrestlers, in terms of wrestling ability, not quite the greatest. He made up for it, though, with his mic skills. His mic skills are legendary.
A triple plus then, right there. He is... Now I'm going to have to kind of go back on my word about what I said about The Rock earlier.
Yeah.
Okay, look, we cannot forget, though. We have ECW, which was his first foundation to the Stone Cold persona.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a second one. His speech at King of the Ring 1996 after beating Jake the Snake Roberts to win the tournament. That speech,
about your Psalms. Talk about your
John 3:16. Austin 3:16 says, I just whip your ass.
Everybody knows that.
He made two catchphrases with that. He made Austin 3:16 and that's the bottom line because Stone Cold said so. On that one ad-libbed promo, he put his future in stone.
Could have swore he had that's the bottom line earlier.
No.
Maybe he did.
Or maybe he did. The Austin 3:16, I know for certain, was it happened for the first time during that speech.
That's when he became the ass whooper.
Yep.
Yeah.
From there, he kept going as a top of the line heel. He won the Royal Rumble in 1997. Ended up facing Bret Hart. And of course, we talked about that match in the previous episode. How great it was. Became a face. And then in SummerSlam 1997. Owen Hart broke his neck after a botched piledriver.
Oh, God. Still watching that clip, even today, it makes me kind of just cringe because if that had been done the wrong way, he could have broken it further and maybe Stone Cold could have died there.
Like, I don't know why, but like when you just started talking about that, my neck started to hurt. It's weird.
It's freaky to see it done like that. And I think the only person that can pull off a tombstone is Undertaker. Maybe Kane, but Taker does it best.
That wasn't a tombstone. That was an old-fashioned sit-down piledriver. The problem is that Owen Hart didn't hold him correctly.
Yeah, he held him too low and his head bonked. This is why the piledriver is now illegal in the WWE.
But that was an important moment, though, because from there he started arguing with Vince McMahon about his ability to wrestle. And he started stunning the management, which got the Stone Cold Stunner over as a move. Very much over, in fact. And he started stunning people left and right. And then the Montreal Screwjob happened, which saw Vince McMahon turn into Mr. McMahon, the greatest heel in the history of the business. And Stone Cold started feuding with Mr. McMahon. That was it. Stone Cold became the most over person that this industry has ever seen. The Austin 3:16 shirt is the best-selling piece of merchandise this side of CM Punk's shirt.
The thing I love also about Stone Cold is, the finisher, the stunner. It works. Just a kick, drop, bam. You know what it kind of reminds me of? The RKO. Just fucking leap up, bam, dead. And it just so happens Rattlesnake, Viper. Huh. Well, it looks like Stone Cold is Randy Orton nowadays. But you've seen the whole comparisons between Stone Cold and Randy Orton. Stone Cold was kind of like the Randy Orton, I guess, of back then, only he took it to a level that I don't think Orton's going to be able to reach.
Would it be wrong to say that the Stone Cold Stunner is the most famous finisher in wrestling history?
I would say so.
Let's take a look at some of the greatest. You have the Sharpshooter, you have Sweet Chin Music, you have the Tombstone, you have the Diamond Cutter, you've got the RKO, you've got the Five Knuckle Shuffle.
I was going to say Attitude Adjustment.
You've got the Attitude Adjustment
or whatever.
as well, or FU. You've got
the FU.
You've got the Scorpion Death Drop, you've got the Leg Drop, you've got the 450 Splash, you have the Red Arrow. Slam. I would say the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yeah, because it's the move that even if you know nothing about wrestling, you've probably heard or seen a stunner before.
That's even become a term in a lexicon before, because I've seen in reviews and other things, this game looks like a Stone Cold Stunner. It's a Stone Cold Stunner. That was never used before that move was a thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool because pretty much anybody can pull it off. You don't have to jump very high. You don't have to do very much for your physical damage to your body. You just kick, boom, sit down.
Kick, hook, drop, bam. The cool thing about that is that it really got him over, like, in terms of, like, the popular culture and, like, the mainstream media, too. So, yeah, number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
If you think Stone Cold should be number 3 on this list, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
I was going to put him number 1, but okay.
Hell yeah. That's why Nikki said hell. That's why Zach said hell yeah, and you didn't.
You're just like, hell yeah, assholes.
Number 3, that's perfect for him.
This is who I believe should have been number 1, but the cards didn't fall that way. So, number 2 on this list. All of the entries on this list have their detractors. Some may say they're overrated, they're bad in the ring, they're spot monkeys, or they can't cut a good promo. But this wrestler, there is no one that dislikes him. Over the last 25 years, he has dominated the wrestling landscape, putting on amazing match after amazing match, carrying the WWE during its death knell in the 90s, and demanding respect with his awe-inspiring theme music and entrances. Our number 2 entry is none other than The Undertaker.
When you hear that gong, even today, the crowd explodes. They know what that gong is associated to. They know it fucking belongs to The Undertaker, and you don't fuck with The Undertaker.
There's that song, you don't jump on Superman, or you don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the Lone Ranger, and you don't fuck around with The Undertaker under any fucking circumstances.
Ever since his debut at Survivor Series 1990 was an absolute monster. He decimated the opposing team. And then they teamed him up with Paul Bearer and made him a face by protecting Randy Savage against the onslaught of Jake the Snake Roberts. And it changed the way that a babyface should be billed. Because before The Undertaker, the babyface was always white meat, all-American, 100% all the time for the fans. Can you feel me, brother? And
I am a real American.
Yeah,
for the rights of every man. And just like that.
and then you have The Undertaker, who's a dead guy, who buries his opponents, who puts them in caskets, and is controlled by a guy named Paul Bearer, who looks white as a sheet in all of the makeup, and he's a good guy.
And he kind of revolutionized wrestling just by showing up at Survivor Series, because before that, all of the guys in the WWF were like these people who would just ramble and just, I'm the best wrestler of all time.
And Taker barely needed to say anything. Paul Bearer would do the talking for him, and all Taker had to do was say, rest in peace. That was it. That was bone chilling.
Yeah, and for years, that was all he would say, and he didn't need to say anything else. Like, he could say more with nothing than what any other wrestler could say with a 15-minute promo. Like, he was a creepy man when you looked at him, and he had the presence that they always talk about. Like, you hear people say, oh, he's got the intangibles, he's got this presence about him. Burr, burr, burr. Taker had it. Taker had, and still does to a certain degree, has it.
Seeing Undertaker's entrance live, seeing that, even though, like, when I was at WrestleMania 22 in his stupid as fuck match with Mark Henry, seeing Undertaker's entrance live is a spectacle that you have to be there to see, and it is amazing, especially his WrestleMania entrances. This dude is all about the theatrics. I know that he's a fantastic wrestler. I know he is a fantastic storyteller, a fantastic ring general. The one thing that he succeeds in better than anybody else on this list is his entrance, is his theatrics, is how he goes to the ring. It is absolutely amazing how he does it. And even today, it's memorable. It's awesome. It is one of a kind.
If I may, when I was watching WrestleMania 30, I wanted to time just how long The Undertaker's entrance was. From the time the lights dimmed to the time the lights went back up and the bell rang. 7 minutes, 3 seconds. 7-minute long entrance. and your eyes are glued to the TV for the entire fucking thing. There is only one guy that can do that, and that is The Undertaker.
Yeah, when you're like thinking, oh man, I don't know what the next match is, probably Divas match, I gotta go to the pee break. Never mind, I can hold it. You can't not watch The Undertaker's entrance.
The Undertaker is an unbelievable spectacle. Even though he's 50 years old now, and he's getting up there in age, and he has just one more match in him, probably, and that'll be it. It'll be time for him to go, but the guy has left a legacy beyond any other. There is no other wrestler that can match up to his legacy. And even though, yeah, he's number 2 on this list, but good God, the guy has left an imprint that nobody can ignore. All of those wonderful 5-star matches against a variety of opponents, the theme song that sends chills up and down your spine every single time, the rivalries, the promos, the costumes, the transition into the American Badass gimmick for a few years when the dead man started to become stale, and then the WrestleMania 20 entrance where he reverted back to the dead man, and this is the career of a lifetime. You could go through 1,000 different wrestlers, and they're all going to say that the career they'd like to have is one that is like The Undertaker's. The Undertaker at number 2.
The best thing, though, about Undertaker is now, even to this day, they look up to the guy. They have immense respect for the guy.
Yeah, he is the backstage general. He is the guy who commands the locker room and keeps order among all of the egos that can conflict in the back. And once you gain the respect of Taker, you are pretty much there. Ask John Cena.
Now we're at number 1. Now let's do one last recap of every wrestler on this list up until this point. Number 15, Rob Van Dam. Number 14, Lita and Trish Stratus. Number 13, Edge. Number 12, Randy Savage. Number 11, Daniel Bryan. Number 10, Rey Mysterio. Number 9, Mick Foley. Number 8, The Rock. Number 7, CM Punk. Number 6, Bret Hart. Number 5, Eddie Guerrero. Number 4, Chris Jericho. Number 3, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And number 2, The Undertaker. So now we are finally at number 1. Out of all of these wrestlers, I think there was one guy we forgot, and it has come down to this, our number 1 spot. We at the Haymakers thought it would be tough to decide who should occupy the spot. But when we deliberated our opinions and our options, there was no question in our minds who deserved this spot. His 90s career built him up into a star within the WWE. But drug problems and constant fighting with his real-life rival and the company he worked for influenced him to leave. He made a few appearances afterwards, but suddenly disappeared without a trace. However, after going clean and becoming a born-again Christian, he found it in himself to return to WWE, and over the course of 8 years, cemented his legacy as the greatest wrestler ever, with a list of accomplishments and accolades too numerous to count. Our pick for the greatest wrestler of all time is none other than Shawn Michaels.
This guy.
I am the kid. I got the look. I know I'm sexy. I got nothing else. I don't remember the rest.
Got the looks. It drives the girls while I got the moves. I really move them. I send chills up and down their spine.
I'm just a sexy boy.
Sexy boy. Okay, let's
I'm not
get,
your boy.
Let's get
we
rid
know
of
the whole song.
Let's get rid of that brand of autism, and let's inject another brand of autism. Let's inject another brand of autism where we just jizz all over ourselves at how fucking great Shawn Michaels is.
Oh, I already have. This guy has the technical ability of Bret Hart. He's got the mic skills of Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's got the comedy chops of Mick Foley. He is everything that you could possibly want out of a professional wrestler. The dude is nuts with this shit.
He is certainly legendary. He lives up to his name. And even though he still uses that goofy as fuck theme song, whenever he comes out, you know that like you got to see what he's up to. This guy can put on just about any match. As he said in these promos, he is probably the best wrestler in the entire world, and he can put on a show unlike anything anyone else has ever seen. Why? Because he can. Does he need another reason? Shawn fucking Michaels, Mr. WrestleMania, the headliner, the main event, every single nickname you can give him. This fucker is the best. No question, hands down.
And the entire thing started with a betrayal. For a lot of people watching the product today, they don't know exactly where Shawn Michaels got his start. Well, I know. It was back in 1992. Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty were part of a very successful tag team called the Rockers, but over time, there were disputes within the group about how they might, kind of let go or break up or whatever, and they were on, a talk show. I forget the name of the talk show.
The Barbershop, I think. It was on a Brutus the Beefcake Barber thingy.
Yes, you're correct. And they made up, or so you thought. They raised their arms and everything, and oh, great, the Rockers are back. And then Shawn Michaels super kicks Marty Jannetty in the face, picks him up and throws him through a window, rips a magazine with their picture in half, and that was it. That was the event that set everything in motion. Shawn Michaels became Intercontinental Champion. He became WWE Champion. He became Tag Team Champion. As a matter of fact, he was the very first Grand Slam Champion in the history of the WWE Classic era. And
he won the very first Hell in a Cell. He won the very first Elimination Chamber.
Didn't he win the first ever ladder match?
No, that was Razor Ramon, and that wasn't the first ladder match. The first ladder match was between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, which Bret Hart won.
But he was the very first WrestleMania ladder match, though. He was a part of a lot of very first concepts for WWE.
He was the first person to win the Royal Rumble at the number 1 or number 2 spot. He was the very first person to do that. He won the Royal Rumble twice in a row in 1995 and 1996. When he came back in 2002, he became back the nicest person in the world as a part of the NWO. It dissolved, and he was a part of one of the first, if not the first, Elimination Chamber matches at SummerSlam 2002. And from there, you can keep going. He wrestled an unbelievably great match against Rey Mysterio at the Eddie Guerrero tribute show on Monday Night Raw. He went toe-to-toe with The Undertaker in 2009 and 2010 at WrestleMania 25 and 26 in two of the greatest matches in history. He is one of a very small amount of people to go to Survivor Series, be the sole survivor, and eliminate just all these fucking accolades, these accomplishments. They really are too numerous to count. And the funny part about this whole thing, this guy's storied career, is that he was never the guy. Ever. And he didn't need to be. Shawn Michaels was built up to be a guy that builds other people up. Shawn Michaels was never the guy during his 8-year tenure. He was never the face of the WWE. He was there as the gatekeeper. He was there as the guy where if you can have a good match against him, he will give you his blessing and you can go on to do whatever the hell you want. He was the gatekeeper. That's what he was.
As silly as he was when he first started out with the whole Heartbreak Kid thing, with Sensational Sherry, with all like the goofy stuff, take all that away, this fucker could wrestle for as long as he wanted. He could wrestle just as good, if not better, than half the people on this list.
That's why one of his signature matches is the Iron Man match. I know he's been in a couple of them. He was in one with Bret Hart. That was the one you said you didn't like, right?
Yeah, the one with Bret Hart. I think at WrestleMania 12. Yes, yeah. 12. Okay.
I'm not a fan of that. Put it at half an hour and I'm fine, but an hour is way too goddamn long.
He was pretty much in an Iron Man match against John Cena that one time.
Yeah, and then that's the thing. He helped make Cena look good at a time where people were wondering, hey, is Cena going to possibly make it? Triple H and Shawn were just like, hey, give him to us. Back-to-back WrestleManias. We can make this guy work.
Yeah.
And that's at the end of the day. Shawn Michaels, like you said, is not there to be the guy. He is there to make the product good. He knows what he has to do. He's not going to be selfish and take the top spot. He doesn't even need it. He hasn't really won the championship that many times. He's won the lower championships multiple times. Again, at the end of the day, he is there to make people look good. He is there to put on a show above anything else, which he did, which has earned him a spot in the Hall of Fame, and which has pretty much earned him our spot for the greatest wrestler of all time, our favorite in our regards. So, now that we're at the end of this, I want to pose a question for you two.
Okay.
Which wrestler on the roster currently do you think will eventually get to the top? Like, say 5 or 10 years from now, if we ever do this again, which current wrestler do you think will be able to make it to the top of this list?
That's actually a very good question. Removing all personal bias, Bray Wyatt. I think Bray Wyatt, it's very, very obvious with his upcoming match against The Undertaker at WrestleMania 31 that they want this guy to be the new face of fear. And it's working because there are GIFs and clips of kids recoiling and hiding behind the barricade when Bray Wyatt draws near. Kids are legitimately afraid of him, and the adults think he's fucking awesome. Who else has that quality? The Undertaker.
I'm going to go with somebody that's has a little farther to go, but I think we'll make it there someday. Finn Balor. I really do think he has the total package. He is a great technical wrestler. His entrance is a thing of beauty. He kind of needs a cooler finisher because I'm not huge on the coup de grace, but I've seen some of his stuff in other promotions, and dude can go. Dude can go nuts. I'm a fan of what Finn Balor's doing, and I think that at some point he will be the guy in the company.
My pick, coincidentally, has a lot of the same qualities that Shawn Michaels has, and I would consider a modern-day Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler. Give him 5 or 10 more years, will probably be the face, will probably be a legit champion, and he will probably be in the Hall of Fame. I think that Ziggler has the wrestling ability, the mic skills, and just the overall presence. Give him a little while to improve on some of his ring work, but this guy is like a modern-day Shawn Michaels. You can tell from watching him that he has studied a lot of Shawn Michaels' mannerisms in the ring, right down to the freaking super kick. Even though it's not sweet chin music, it is a damn good-looking super kick. I believe that Ziggler is going to be the guy 5 or 10 years from now.
I hope they do it soon. His shit with Eric Rowan and Ryback and the Authority isn't doing him, Ryback, or Eric Rowan any favors.
He's still fairly young. I don't think he's in his 30s yet. So
he's 34.
Oh shit!
That's
really?
why I said.
Wow.
That's why I said they need to do it now. The guy's been in the company for 10 fucking years.
Wow, that's unexpected. Okay, yeah, hurry up, pull the
Better pull the trigger on this now.
Damn.
But yeah, this has been our top 15 greatest wrestlers of all time. This wasn't easy, but we managed to narrow it down to this. So now with WrestleMania 31 on the horizon, we figured we'd talk about the best stuff because now here's the deal breaker. We may not be doing the Haymakers again if WrestleMania 31 sucks, so hey, we might as well go out with a bang.
We'll keep doing it, but we're going to be more apprehensive about the product. Because here's the thing about my stance on the product right now. Roman Reigns is going to be WWE champion, most likely after WrestleMania 31. You know what? Fine. Give him the World Heavyweight Championship. You know what that's going to make me do? Not care about it. I'm going to be putting my attention towards the mid-card, towards the Intercontinental Championship and the United States Championship and the feuds going on without the belts. This is why I'm a huge fan of Bray Wyatt. He don't need no fucking belts. He does this shit on his own. That's why I really like the guy. I'm going to care more about the mid-card. So, fuck it. If there's still decent things going on in the mid-card, that's fine. But the number one tipping point for me when I was deliberating over whether I should continue watching the product actively or not, I thought back to the last year's Survivor Series, 2014, with that absolutely fucking great main event. And I realized, if there is a thing that can affect me on such a deep and profound emotional level as that match did, that can't be a bad thing, can it? And the WWE, no matter whether it's bad or good, will continue to provide me with moments like that. And I can't ignore something like that. Hell, the Royal Rumble with that triple threat. That was, oh my God, that was ridiculously amazing. And there will be moments like that for the rest of this year and ongoing. So I can't ignore the product entirely. No, I'm not going to watch every single Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, but I will continue to watch the pay-per-views just to see if something happens, and I will continue to monitor the product to see if there's any changes in management or creative, to see if they get their asses back on track. Not to mention, I still have Lucha Underground and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla to entertain me. So I'm not going to stop watching. I've made my decision. I will continue to watch WWE. Not to the extent as I did before, but I will continue to watch it.
That seems fair enough. Nikki and I are probably going to do the same.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, work at this point is kind of preventing me from watching Raw and SmackDown as they're going on. But I will still be able to keep track of what's going on and how fans are reacting to things. And even though I have canceled my subscription to the network, I will watch the pay-per-views through other less legal means, shall we go with? But yeah, like I will say the mid-card is legitimately great in the WWE right now because there's a lot of cool stuff that's going on. There's Miz versus Bizda, there's Goldust versus Stardust if they ever decide to keep that going. They got the Intercontinental title thing, they got the United States title thing going. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd are still really good, even if they are facing the Usos again.
We can save that for later, though. I think this video has been going on for long enough.
Almost an hour.
Yeah. So, yeah, this has been our top 15 favorite wrestlers. Please go ahead and put down in the comments what your favorite wrestler is, and we will see you guys in the next video. Here's hoping WrestleMania 31 is going to be good.
Don't suck, please.
Don't suck. I'll suck your dick if you don't suck.
Wait, what?
And see.